Hi everyone, it's Piers from Meandmygolf, and it's time for Training Aids Month. November is all about training aids, and we're kicking it off in style, talking about the Superspeed Overspeed training system, and we've got a special guest as well. Let's take charge of your game. So, as you can see, we have a special guest, Chadwick. Nice to see you, my friend.
How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, very good, thank you. Thanks for having us in your gym. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, and you're going to see some cool pics of this later as well, with some guys training and sweating a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So look, what we want to talk about today is, obviously we're talking Training Aids Month, you know that already. Very excited to do this. We're talking about Superspeed. So we're talking about very much a buzz product at the moment. You look on the PGA Tour, there's over 100 of these guys across all tours, should I say, using these things, the Superspeed system, and it's pretty exciting, the numbers that we're seeing. But what we're going to do today is actually show you whether it's going to help you, first of all. We're also going to go through a case study that we did earlier in the year and with some of our clients, and also then we're going to go through the protocols that you would do in the first week and give you a little bit of an idea on how to do those correctly, because it's really important if we're looking at this. So basically, Superspeed is an overspeed training system, not just for golf, there's other sports as well, but obviously in golf, we're talking about distance all the time, and we want to create distance. But with these, we're talking about increasing clubhead speed in lots of different ways. So the guys at Superspeed, they're incredibly clever guys. We've actually just done a podcast with those guys, so make sure you check that out as well. But they're finding now that 80% of the improvements are coming from neuromuscular development, and 20% are coming from concepts and technique changes. So Andy, first of all, neuromuscular development, it sounds a fancy phrase. What is it?
It's a scientific terminology for stress and how we adapt to stress. Okay. So the idea behind the Superspeed and behind the program that we put together was being able to stress the body for it to grow. Okay. From there, when we saw a change and we saw a development in their body, we then implemented another stress. So we're trying to get the body to stress, repair, because we're seeing growth from that.
Okay, so yeah, ultimately we're just challenging the body, taking it to another level, and then trying to sustain that level and then keep going on those levels and going up. Okay, so that's basically what we're talking about with this, is keeping it as simple as possible. Now the 20%, in fact, if I can just borrow that actually. So the 20%, so we're talking about concepts and we're talking about changing technique. So if you think about the three main areas that this can really help. So Kinematic Sequence, so don't worry, you're safe, I'm going to swing, but you're going to be safe. So we've probably heard this term before, but basically the Kinematic Sequence is that when we start the downswing, we start from the ground. So lower body goes first, then the torso, then the arm, then the hand and the club. And if we go in a good sequence, which the best players in the world do fantastically well, we can help maximize the energy that we're getting into that club head. And then we're talking about using the ground properly, so your ground force reaction, so how you use the ground in your back and downswing again, which obviously is crucial for power. If you've seen us doing this stuff with Joe Miller, you would have seen that. And we're talking about one of our old favourites, lag. So the retention of the angle between the shaft and the forearm, coming down to this area here, retaining that lag. So what the guys at Superspeed are saying, and I totally agree with this by the way, just from the test that we've done, is that you can actually see changes in technique when you are doing this, and that's crucial for us as golfers if we want to improve our technique without actually having to think about it. Just being given a task on how to move.
That's it.
Very good. Okay, so what we need to do before we get into what our clients did, which is a lot of fun by the way, how are these different? Let's go through these, Andy.
So we have 3 clubs. Now, the shafts are all the same length, but we've got a green, a blue and a red. Now at the end of the shaft is 3 different weights. The green is the lightest, the blue is the medium, and the red is the heaviest. Okay. So the idea being, we've obviously got increased weight. Yeah. When we're swinging, it's making us swing faster, swing harder to be able to move the shaft.
So obviously the light one is the one that you're going to be able to move the fastest, which is obviously very important that you can do that. It's going to be a little bit harder to move the other ones maybe as fast, but that's what we're looking at when we have this, yeah? Okay, so look, what we did with our clients is something we were talking about for a while to do, and really looking forward to doing it. We had basically 8 guys who actually went on a 7-week program. So out of this, obviously, we wanted to make sure, from my point of view and from Andy's point of view, that we could get these guys into this gym and make sure they were accountable for improvement. So they could actually come down, we knew that they'd do their Superspeed, we know that they would do their protocols properly, but they'd also get into a culture of actually improving and training. But we weren't just doing super speed, were we? What else were we doing?
No, so we were actually doing a full training program as in session. We were hitting different body parts or different movement patterns. We were looking at a pull movement, we would look at a squat movement, we would look at a hinge, a push. Obviously core has to be in there as well. And then we also put in a cardio move as well. So that was just looking at being able to increase the muscular endurance, and then we could strengthen the muscles as well.
So it's again it was something that was running alongside the super speed.
Yeah.
But it was all, we were just attacking them from all sorts of areas, and it was very important that when we were going through the super speed that we're not making sure that we were taxing them too much in that department.
Of course.
Because it's really important, because you can drop speeds quite quickly in these once you start to get fatigued neuromuscularly. So we want to make sure that you're not doing that. So with the training, how often can they use these clubs, Andy? Because that's actually a good question, isn't it?
So they want to be doing it every other day.
Okay.
Now, when we were doing it, we made sure that they had a day's rest after, and then did it up until the day before. So up until the day before, they was doing it every other day, and then the day before they would stop because they wanted to be fresh for the session when they came in.
So every other day. And what's the problem if we actually train too much for that?
We're just going to see fatigue.
Yeah.
We're just going to see rundown. People are going to come in. They're not going to be recovered. They're not going to be able to train hard in the session, which is something that we need because we're able to stress them a little bit more. But we're also going to find that when they're doing the protocol, that they're just going to feel drained and tired, and they're not going to want to do it. And then when it came to retesting, we would have just seen poor results.
Okay. So this is something he stresses to me all the time about recovery. You got to recover, you got to recover. I want to get in the gym all the time, but you need to recover. So let's just very quickly, I'm not going to go through all of the movements here, but basically we would test them with a 6-iron, and then we test them with a driver. Okay, so we've got all their numbers here. You're going to see them coming up now. And then we'd obviously do the training after 7 weeks, and then as close to that training as possible, we'd retest. Now, unfortunately, we had 2 injuries, nothing to do with the class. The one guy did his back in at work. He's always doing his back in. The other guy was trying to do an overhead kick whilst playing football and did his cruciate knee ligaments. But he still actually did a retrain, but it was about 3 months, a retest, sorry, but it was done about 3 months later. But if we look at this here, we're seeing that on average, as collective, we had 18.4 miles per hour of extra clubhead speed with the driver, 11.9 with the irons across the board there, the board. So the biggest improvement we'd see, I think, was from Thomas Bryan, who had 5.1 miles per hour on his driver and 4.8 on his iron, which is incredible, really, when you're thinking about this.
Yeah.
And he's a 5-handicap golfer, by the way, so if someone who's as good as that can improve as much as that, and actually subsequently, he's actually had a fantastic season this year. Okay, right, so look, those guys, one thing that they found very hard was some of the protocols to start with, the non-dominant stuff. So what I'm looking forward to doing now is putting you through this training, okay? So let's just go through a little bit. If you can just actually give us a highlight on the protocols. We won't do all of them because it just takes too long, but let's have a go through this. We've got our radar in here. Let's get that up and running. Okay, so what's the first one we're going to do? We're using the radar, by the way, to actually gamify this. So basically, if he sees a speed that maybe is a little bit lower than he wants, I'm going to be pushing him and saying, come on, we've got to go higher.
Yep.
You ready for that?
Yep.
Okay, so talk us through it in a highlighted way.
So the first thing we're going to look at is we have to do 3 sets for the actual protocol with each club. So we're looking at 3 swings, 3 sets on each club. So the first one we're looking at is a standing. Okay. So we're going to be going into our golf posture, setting up with the lightest stick here, and I'm going to do a full swing. From there, we're going to see
109.
Not bad.
So he's going to go harder.
Now, I would go through 2 more swings on my dominant side, but because we're going for demonstration purposes, I'm now going to go onto my non-dominant side. And from here, not bad.
Not bad, 92.
92.
That, for us to see that to start with when golfers are going non-dominant, it's quite funny. But really important, if we look at actually a collection of long drivers, the guys who won the World Championships over the last 10, 15 years, they have actually been very good on their non-dominant side versus golf. So basically right-handed drivers, but left-handed hockey players, for instance, ice hockey players. Yep. And we've seen that a lot. Okay, so that's the first one. What's the next one?
So we would then go through the blue and the red, 3 on the dominant, 3 on the non-dominant, just standing. Okay. So from there, we would go into the thunder step.
Thunder step. Carl, I hope you're watching.
I did get a little bit of stick about this because I kept putting step change.
Yeah.
So from here, I would take my stance, I would come back, step through, and full swing.
Okay, 108.
From there, I would do 3 swings dominant side, and then I'm going to go 3 swings non-dominant side. So let's see how this one is.
Oh, he didn't hit the radar, which is a good point. 96 is that? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So from there, I would then go 3 with the dominant, 3 with the non-dominant on the blue. Same thing with the red.
Okay.
Final thing we have is just 1 set, 3 swings, standing.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do all 5. Come on, let's see. This is the last one, yeah? This is the last bit.
This is the last one.
Okay.
So 3 swings, just standing.
Okay, what we got? We're going with a light one here, 116. So he's got to go higher. Now, Mike Napoleon shouts at people on the range doing this, by the way. He's one of the co-founders of Superspeed. So let's see you do it. 116. I'm going to shout at you if you don't higher. All right, that's good. And we want you 126. Okay, now he was messing around before. So let's see what he's got now. I think I saw Joe Miller do one of these around about 180 the other day, by the way.
180?
Something like that, yeah. We did a long drive one, it was a bit longer. What we got here? 125. Come on, step it up. 2 more. Come on, 2 more. You're doing it.
Let's get it.
1 more. Come on. What we got? 125. It's flashing at you. I think that means he's too slow. Didn't seem as fast. 127 it was. Look at that. Okay, look, really good. So I think, look, the thing for us is super speed for you? Look, it is for you, I believe, and Andy believes as well, I'm pretty sure, that if you want to look to improve club head speed. Now, we know distance is down to a lot of factors. Ball speed is the most important. Your launch, your spin is obviously very important. We can help you with technique and with a club fitting with that. But imagine this, if you can increase your club head speed by 5 miles per hour like Thomas, you can hit the golf ball over 20 yards further, 30 yards further. That's huge. If we look at some of the best players in the world, some of the best stats, Francesco Molinari, he is 30 yards longer now in the air than he was a couple of years ago. That's huge. So if you can look at being that much further, look what it's done to him. Open champion, best player in the Ryder Cup, and probably will continue to do well into the 2019 season. So if you can get more yardage off the tee, it means you don't have to hit drive all the time. It means you could be hitting 9-iron instead of 6-iron. It's actually quite an important component. And I think the big thing that we get asked a little bit as well with this, Andy, is that injuries. Now, you can get injured doing a golf swing, but the good thing is if you warm up properly and go through this, you should be okay, shouldn't you? Yeah,
I think one of the biggest things that we all see is people just turn up for the round of golf, step on the first tee and away they go. And there's a massive disconnect between playing well and moving well.
Yeah.
So if we can move well from our warm-up, from our kind of pre-game, building up to competitions at the weekend maybe, we're going to see a better scoring average and a better driving average because we're ready to play.
Yeah. Okay. So and that just makes total sense. I know that Andy is a big component of, you know, if you train hard and you mobilize yourself and actually do something like this, you're probably going to get injured less. So I think it actually blows that sort of myth out of the water. So a couple more things to finish with. If you are interested in getting some of these, Superspeed have been very good in giving us a 10% discount code. Click the link in the description down below and you can go straight there. And also, I believe me and you are going to be doing this soon as well, aren't we?
We are.
So we're accepting the Superspeed challenge and we are going to do this as well. So my lower back is a little tight at the moment. So we're probably going to have to do that, I would say maybe next week or the week after. We'll do it soon. You'll see it on social media. We're going to put it in some vlogs as well and things like that. So thank you so much for watching. Now make sure you check out the rest of November's content because we're talking training aids all for the month. We've got so many, we could fill this gym with training aids. He might need a few as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, you know the drill. Hit the like button if you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions about this video whatsoever, about the Superspeed, post them down below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can see more great videos just like this. And make sure you check out the rest of November's content because it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Thanks for watching and see you soon.